So we're live, are we, man? Yeah. And what time is it? 4 o'clock? 4:04. Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry, we're running a little bit late here. We had sort of camera problems with our new fandangled camera. So we'll start off with the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. Tonpa Chandandi Dijin Japa Dachampa Yantapa Sope Sanje Ripa Dajatsu Tempa Japa Ditan Tempa Jibu Dewe Telmo Dewa Nana Mepa Minaki Tampa Sanje Chandande Pajawa Shacha Tupala Shatsalo Chodo Kyapsu Chiwo. Teacher, Bhagawan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly pure and complete Buddha, all-knowing, having poise, Sugata, apprehender of the world, navigator of beings to be subdued, incomparable, teacher of gods and humans, to the Buddha, the Bhagawan, the glorious conqueror Shakyamuni, we prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. Sanghajo danso ti chananda chancha badadani chatsuchi dadi denzo dipe zonanti to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until becoming enlightened. Through the merit of my generosity and so on, may I achieve Buddhahood to benefit all beings. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until becoming enlightened. Through the merit of my generosity and so on, may I achieve Buddhahood to benefit all beings. This ground, anointed with perfume and strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, adorned with sun and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered thus, may all beings enjoy such pure lands. I prostrate my 3 doors with a mind of respect and offer all actually arranged and mentally emanated offerings. I reveal all the downfalls and negativities that I have ever collected and rejoice in the virtues of individuals and superiors. Please remain perfectly abiding until samsara is no longer seen. I request you to turn the vast and profound wheels of Dharma. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. bodhicitta jishin tipitu, shati sovo dilatu shaksa, dhammi tampa deyi setijo, jave sepa kungi kunani, dhammi chindu tupenam ruwa, mi panchampi yana shazalo, shintu papa tava taviyo, shishin dampa delse tendinjam, nudu tome tini sasuna, yanzu tapi shadma dajata, shinta tempo nile dupi, Samatawa Jachen Chotpila, Mana Yansu Sope de Tupi, Tampi Sotin Mame Sedatu, Tudu Tundi Lanti Nesopi, Sishin Sishin Sevi Danzepi, Javedan Malu Senpai, Musanda Pipala Shazano, Rutan Sunatan Lata Vimik, Tilsanta Pata Pishanosha, Zibe Chotpe Tanchi Satpayi, Body born from a million magnificent, excellent virtues, speech fulfilling the hopes of infinite beings, a mind that sees all objects of knowledge precisely, I bow my head to the chief among the Shakyas, supreme sons of the incomparable teacher, carrying the load of all the conqueror's deeds, by their emanations appearing in countless realms, I prostrate to Maitreya and Manjushri. The mother of conquerors is difficult to fathom. The precise thought is in commentaries written by Jambavipa's ornaments, Nagarjuna and Asanga. I prostrate at the feet of those most renowned in the three realms. From these two great chariots come the excellent lineages of the paths of profound view and vast deeds. Their essential points gathered thoroughly and without fault. Prostration to the lamp holding this treasury instruction. Giving explanation through compassion by seeing precisely and completely the essential points of all paths of Sutra and Tantra. Holder of the conqueror's entire holy Dharma. Prostrations to the glorious Losandrapa. I seen all the infinite teachings. Supreme way of crossing for those entering the journey to liberation. Moved by compassion to deeds skilled in method. Prostrations to the spiritual masters who make everything clear. On page 27, the great treasury of excellence. The kind master is the basis of all qualities, and proper reliance is the root of the path. By seeing this excellence and through much striving, bestow blessings to be devoted with great respect. This gentle support of freedom, obtained this one time, is most difficult to achieve. Knowing its great value gives rise to a mind seizing its essence constantly day and night. Bestow blessings to generate this continuum unceasingly. It is like a bubble in water, this constantly moving body and life. Thus remember the swift collapse of death. Beyond death, like body and shadow, white and black karmic results follow after. By gaining firm certainty in this, the mass of faults, subtle and very subtle, are abandoned, and the accomplishment of all virtuous collections completed. Bestow blessings to ever attain conscientiousness. The qualities of samsara are unfit to be trusted. the door to all suffering, do not be content with these enjoyments. By knowing its defects, bestow blessings to develop a great aspiration for the bliss of liberation. By that pure thought, great conscientiousness is drawn forth, and mindfulness and awareness of the individual liberation, the root of the teachings. Bestow blessings to make this the essential practice. Just as I myself have fallen into samsara's ocean, all living beings as mother are also like that. By seeing the responsibility for the liberation of beings, bestow blessings to be trained in supreme bodhicitta. However, by merely generating the mind, if not acquainted with the three aspects of ethics, enlightenment will not be attained. By seeing this excellence, bestow blessings to train with strong effort in the vows of the conqueror's sons. Pacifying distraction toward perverse objects, by way of proper analysis of the perfect meaning, bestow blessings to swiftly and continuously generate the path related to the union of calm abiding and special insight. Thus becoming a vessel trained in the common paths, into the Vajrayana, supreme evolution of all vehicles. Bestow blessings to engage the easy path itself, that sacred way of crossing for fortunate beings. The base of practice for the two aspects of attainment is when guarding the pure vows of commitment is found to be genuine and certain. Bestow blessings to protect them even at risk of life. Then by understanding properly the important points, which are the essence of the two stages of the Tantra classes, bestow blessings to practice according to these holy teachings, with continuous effort in the supreme four-session yoga. Like that, may the spiritual friend revealing the gentle path and the friends of proper practice stand firm. Bestow blessings to quickly pacify the masses of outer and inner hindrances. In all rebirths, may I never be parted from perfect gurus and the enjoyment of the glorious Dharma. By utterly completing all qualities, paths, and grounds, may I quickly achieve the state of Vajradhara. So we start off again with a brief meditation, just a meditation to establish the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, to make sure we're heading towards enlightenment with this activity. So settling in meditation posture, and as usual, letting go of any preoccupation, letting go of any tension, as it's of no benefit. So if we're holding physical tension, then releasing that. And if we're holding worries or planning or whatever, mental preoccupation, then letting that go as well. And just focusing on the breath. And if we like, on the out-breath, letting go, releasing all problems and sickness and tension. And we can do this with seven large out-breaths. We let go of all stale air within the body. So you can do this forcefully if you wish. And 7 in-breaths. We imagine we're breathing in pristine, beautiful air from the forests or from the oceans or from the pure lands. Beautiful, fresh, healing air filling our body for 7 in-breaths. And then again with 7 out breaths, visualize we're breathing out black light, dark smoke, impurities that disappear into space. And these are in the nature of any sickness or disease, any tension, any delusions, negativity, obscurations, hindrances, any suffering, any bad memories, and so on, any thoughts of incapacity, for 7 out breaths in the form of black light, black smoke. And with 7 in-breaths, we breathe in brilliant, radiant, healing white light, very peaceful white light that fills the mind and fills the body with energy, with good health, with vitality, with compassion and love, with wisdom and so on, the causes of long life. So for 7 breaths. And we can focus that currently you don't have an ordinary life. We have extraordinary life, a birth with leisure and fortune, with freedom and endowment. So an extraordinary human rebirth with access to the Dharma and interest in the Dharma and faith in the Dharma. So a rebirth that can be imbued with renunciation and bodhicitta and wisdom, knowing the nature of reality. So we should recognize I have an extraordinary situation. Seems ordinary when I wake up, it's just me. But within samsara, it's an extraordinary situation. So we need to use it to take the essence of this extraordinary situation and use it meaningfully. So if we can imagine at our death time, what actually counts as meaningful as we've been separated from this extraordinary situation, then it won't be the number of German cars. From Mahayana viewpoint, what's meaningful, and for many, pretty much for other people as well, what's meaningful includes, have I learnt, have I developed, have I explored my potential, or potential for enlightenment? And also what's meaningful is our connection with others, our relationship. What have we done for others? So these are the two aspects of bodhicitta. That are very meaningful at death time. And extraordinarily meaningful beyond death time. As the merit from bodhicitta continues all the way to enlightenment. So we need to open our hearts to all living beings without feeling overwhelmed and without feeling despair, as the problem is so vast. And we need to recognize the truth of suffering in all living beings' lives. Being bound in samsara by delusion and negative karma. And being thrown into the cycle of suffering. So we generate great compassion for all living beings. In this wheel of suffering, from one's heart, may all living beings be free of delusion and karma and suffering, and stabilize on that. So then we can generate bodhicitta, thinking to liberate all living beings without exception. I'll explore. I'll manifest my Tathagata essence, the pure nature of mind, and traverse the three principal paths of renunciation, bodhicitta, and wisdom, and attain enlightenment, a spontaneous, natural, perfect state for the benefit of all who live, and stabilize on the mind of bodhicitta. And we can finish the meditation. So, welcome back, everyone. We're finishing off with calm abiding this week. So it's been quite a few weeks we've spent on calm abiding. And so I think the last thing we looked at was the different types of objects of calm abiding. So, the path to enlightenment suggests we can focus on many different things. We've got to stick with the one to attain calm abiding, but particularly the benefits of a holy object, such as the image of a Buddha, or the whether that's Shakyamuni Buddha or Tara or Manjushri, and so on. Because there's lots of benefits listed. We not only gain calm abiding more quickly, we're focusing, we're bringing our minds to enlightenment, we're nurturing our Buddha nature, it's a cause of attaining all the qualities that are symbolized in that image of enlightenment, which is basically the entire path. So yeah, lots of benefits, and we gain a connection with the Buddha or Tara or Manjushri, or a stronger connection with our guru if we're seeing them as our guru as well. So yeah, so now we're on to page 821, which looks at the 9 levels of concentration that are the stepping stones to calm abiding. So with concentration, calm abiding, we need to develop confidence that we can actually do this, because it's very easy to look back on one's Buddhist career and think, well, I haven't got very far with my concentration. I'm probably, if I project into the future, I'm not going to get very far, but I'm sort of comfortable just where I am. So we need to overcome that sort of thinking if we're going to develop calm abiding and traverse the path to enlightenment. So we need to sort of be maybe a bit more daring and dare to dream sort of thing, that it's just stability and clarity. They're two aspects of mind that are naturally there, and that's all we're trying to gain, is stability and clarity. So it's a doable thing. And then the breaking it down into 9 steps, as the path to enlightenment does, and a sangha, and so on, did, makes it seem a more doable thing, because we can just look at the next step. For example, if you're training to run, if you haven't done any running for years, like I found that when I was about 40, I hadn't run for years and years, And I tried to run, and I couldn't really run 50 meters, and it was a bit of a shock. So I started just doing like 100 meters or 200 meters, and now I feel quite comfortable with a bit of jogging. I can't run marathons or things, but I can run. So the same with training to run. You might think if you haven't run forever, you might just think I can't run. It's a joke. I haven't run for years. I'm out of shape. There's no way I can run. But if you decide I'm just going to try and run for 30 seconds, just a slow jog, might not even be moving any faster than walking, but you're swinging your arms up and down. Then, that's the first goal, and then you get to maybe I can do it for 2 minutes, then I can do it for 5 minutes. Then gradually you start to feel more comfortable, and you learn a bit about running and the footwear and the gait, and you start to experience the endorphins. You start to enjoy it rather than it being a horrible endurance test. It's something you're starting to enjoy, and you work out the best routes, and it becomes enjoyable. So similarly with our concentration meditation, if it's broken down into these 9 stages, then we can just focus on the next stage and not depress ourselves and think I'll never get calm abiding. So Geshe on page 821, the 9 levels of concentration, they come from Maitreya's ornament for the Mahayana Sutras. So here it says, having concentrated the mind on the object, do not allow its continuum to be distracted. By quickly realizing the distraction, return again to the object. The intelligent, more and more, withdraw the mind inside. Then, due to seeing the good qualities, tame the mind in meditative stabilization. By seeing the faults of distraction, pacify the dislike of concentration. Covetousness, discomfort, and the like should be pacified immediately upon arising. Then the diligent ones, with application to the mind, attain spontaneity, and through familiarity with that, stop application. So that actually gives the breakdown into 9 stages, but it's not immediately obvious how that is. Geshe explains it there. And in Lama Tsongkhapa's great exposition, he explains that the 9 stages are in accord with Kamalashila's first stages of meditation. So they're laid out, as Geshe lays them out here, in Kamalashila's first stages of meditation. And Geshe lists them here as placing the mind, placement with continuity, patch-like placement, close placement, controlling, pacifying, complete pacification, single-pointed concentration, and placement with equanimity. So the first stage we should attempt is place the mind. And that's when we've chosen the object and we try to focus within, withdraw the mind from the external world and the senses. And if we can focus for 1 minute, then we've achieved the first stage. So in 1 minute without losing the object. Doesn't mean we're not, we haven't got agitation, we haven't got excitement. We still have those things, and we still have dullness or laxity. But if we can get to 1 minute, we've attained the first stage. So that's what we should be focusing on. The second stage is placement with continuity. And that's the path to enlightenment describes that's got more interruptions than continuity. But still, at that stage, if we can get to 2 to 5 minutes, so if you can get to 2 minutes, you've attained the second stage. If you can stay with an object, it sounds like it should definitely be a doable thing, doesn't it? So 2 to 5 minutes, we get to the second stage, placement of continuity. Then the third stage is called patch-like placement. And it's called that because we quickly patch up any breaks in concentration that are occurring where we're losing the object. We're quickly patching them up. A bit like if you've got a jumper and it's starting to, the thread's starting to pull and it's unraveling, you quickly patch it up so you don't end up losing your jumper or your pullover. So with that stage, we become more skilled in recognizing distraction and eliminating it. So then the fourth stage listed here is close placement. And Geshe explains here that the power of mindfulness has become so good or so developed that we don't lose the object. But the Path to Enlightenment commentary then says, but there's still gross laxity and excitement, which is a little bit hard to understand because the Path to Enlightenment defines gross excitement as where you lose the object, and subtle excitement's like the water moving under ice, where your mind's moving away, but the ice is like you've still got the object there, but there's a movement away. So it's hard to see on stage 4, if we're in close placement, we don't lose the object, but we've still got gross excitement. So don't really know what the answer to that is, but presumably excitement is like a spectrum. It's delineated as gross and subtle, but it's probably more like a spectrum of intensity or the energy of excitement. And this must be getting towards the lower end of the gross excitement. Maybe it's something like that, I'm not sure. So verbal commentary Geshe gave on the fourth stage, close placement. He said during one samadhi retreat we used to have at Easter, or we still do, agitation and dullness can't harm concentration. You can concentrate on the object for as long as you like. And he said, for example, if you're eating poison through mantra blessing and concentration, then the power of the poison is destroyed. So this is for, not to be recommended for us novices, this is for more for your tantric yogis who can convert poison into nectar. He said, like that, on the fourth stage, your concentration destroys the energy of the agitation and dullness, so you don't lose the object. So the fifth stage is called controlling, and we attain this through strong awareness. So awareness or vigilance or watchfulness then it recognizes when we're losing the object. So on this fifth stage, we've got no gross laxity and no gross excitement. So we're definitely not losing the object through excitement, heading off towards other things. And we've got clarity as well because we've got no gross laxity. So I think it's very difficult to get to the fifth stage unless you're actually doing serious samadhi retreats. So in our daily concentrations, I think you can get to at least to 1 to 4, but it's very difficult to actually get to that fifth stage. So Lord Tsongkhapa, on page 74 of the third volume of his great exposition, he quotes the hearer's grounds. I think that's Asanga's hearer's grounds. If your mind is distracted by the signs of any of the 5 sensory objects, or the 3 mental poisons, or a man or woman, you regard these 10 signs as disadvantageous from the outset, and do not let them scatter your mind. So any of the 5 sensory objects, at that point, any sounds don't disturb your concentration. any smells, any visual sights, and so on, any physical sensation, such as pressure in the knees and so on, doesn't disturb your concentration, as well as the three mental poisons, so being attached to objects, thinking about your money or about, Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie, or no anger can disturb it at that point. So all our upsets, and no ignorance can disturb it at that point, and no preoccupation with man or woman. So you see those as disadvantageous. You're not ensnared by the stuff of the world. You're determined to develop calm abiding. So the sixth stage is pacifying, and the Path to Enlightenment says at this stage we've got a little subtle laxity and excitement. So we're still wary of subtle laxity, which is you've got clarity, but the fine focus isn't quite there. There's still some internal sinking and some subtle excitement. So that's like the water moving under ice. Your mind's trying to move away from the object of meditation, but you're not losing the object. So again, Lord Tsongkhapa on this stage, he says, regarding distraction as a fault, you quell any dislike for concentration. You see distraction to the sensory as I think that's what as disadvantageous from the beginning, and do not let your attention be drawn to your thoughts and secondary afflictions. So it's a slightly different, you still see all that stuff as disadvantageous. Then the seventh stage, complete pacification. And the Path to Enlightenment says at this stage, you're not at all wary of laxity and excitement. Even the subtle laxity and excitement has great difficulty to arise and is easily overcome. So you've really got a powerful mind at this stage. The eighth stage is single-pointed concentration. So that's when you've got one object for all your, without laxity and excitement, for the entire session. But there's very little bit of effort required just at the beginning in terms of mindfulness and awareness. Then you've got effortless concentration for as long as you like. And Lama Tsongkhapa said, this is also known as single channeling. From a Sangha's hearer's grounds, since you continuously establish a flow of concentration, you make a single channel. So imagine you've got a single channel on bodhicitta or a single channel on emptiness, instead of our usual channel surfing, jumping from one crazy thought to the next distraction, back to the meditation and so on. So no more channel surfing at that point, single channeling. Then the ninth stage is placement with equanimity. And this is effortless concentration for any period. And so similar to the jogger who's suddenly really in the zone, they've got through all the struggle and the training, and they're very, very comfortable running, and the endorphins are flowing, and they're in the zone now, and it's just easy to keep running. They want to keep running because they're enjoying it. So Lama Tsongkhapa says this ninth stage is called spontaneous natural attention. So that's sort of gives a bit of a reminder of the pure nature of mind, our Buddha nature, because our Buddha nature is spontaneous clarity and awareness. So this spontaneous natural attention at the ninth stage is maybe starting to reveal our Buddha nature. So And I know His Holiness also in his teachings on Buddha nature says that compassion just arises naturally, and love arises naturally once we've removed those obscurations of, all our upsets and neuroses and things. Then, as well as the Buddha nature being clarity and awareness and emptiness nature of mind, then it's a natural thing of love and compassion to arise. So then the path to enlightenment says if we get to the ninth stage and then we die, in future life, as soon as we're reminded of the object of our concentration, you might see an image of Shakyamuni Buddha or something, then you attain calm abiding. So we haven't lost it, even if we die at that point. So yeah, they're the 9 stages. We should mainly focus on the next stage we need to develop and go from there. So next in the Path to Enlightenment, Geshe looks at the 6 powers, page 826, and it says the 6 powers are methods for developing your concentration through the 9 mental stages. They are the power of hearing, the power of thinking, the power of mindfulness, the power of awareness, the power of joyous effort, and the power of complete familiarity. So on one teaching Geshe gave, with regards to the 6 powers, he said, in Geshe's study, and tradition is looking at the front, looking at the back, and looking at the bottom of the book, and therefore afterwards there's no confusion. So he said that with the power of hearing, if you're not listening, then placing the mind is not possible. So there's a little bit of doubling up with these 6 powers. In previous weeks, we've looked at the 5 obstacles and the 8 antidotes, which are critical to know as well. So the 5 obstacles were laziness, forgetfulness, was agitation and dullness, like laxity and excitement, and non-application and over-application. But the 8 antidotes also included 3 of the things that are in these 6 powers. So the 8 antidotes were faith, aspiration, equanimity, pliancy, then mindfulness, awareness, application, and faith, aspiration, effort, pliancy, mindfulness, awareness, then application, and equanimity. That's right. So there's basically a doubling up. It seems like there's so many things to remember, but there's doubling up with these 6 powers. There's mindfulness, awareness, and joyous efforts amongst the 6 powers. That are also part of the 8 antidotes. So yeah, it's not too much to think about. Anyway, the power of hearing. So this is hearing the instructions, ideally from a fully qualified Mahayana guru, which are rare as hen's teeth. They're extraordinarily rare. Someone like His Holiness, someone like Geshe Acharya Thubten Loden, as an accomplished, not only accomplished scholar, but an extraordinarily accomplished meditation master, yogi, and so on. So ideally someone with the 10 qualities of a perfectly qualified Mahayana guru, and being controlled by ethics, pacified by concentration, completely pacified by their wisdom, and so on. If we can't find that, then at least someone who's accomplished in calm abiding. So again, very difficult to find. So yeah, but this path to enlightenment, Geshe said, this is his books are his representative after he goes. So these are authentic, authoritative instruction. So this power of hearing includes reading these instructions. So the importance of hearing or reading is we learn the methods, we learn what we need to do, we learn what the obstacles are, we learn what the antidotes to those obstacles are, and so we can actually do the practice. And hearing's difficult. At the start of the path to enlightenment, there's instructions on how to listen. Very basic. You think we know how to listen, but there's quite extensive instructions. And there's the instruction to listen well, listen fully, and retain in the mind. So not to be like the three pots, with the upturned pot where you can't pour anything in, such as a closed mind or agitated mind. The pot with holes in where everything it goes in, but then it flows out. So forgetting everything, and the pot with the gunge at the bottom, the impurities that spoils the milk or spoils the water. So that's with an agitated mind or impure motivation, listening. So, yeah, first of all, we need to get our head around the instructions. Secondly, the power of thinking. So this, we return to the object by thinking about the object. And so we get to know our object of meditation. We've got to think about the antidotes, particularly to laxity and excitement. Like, if you're getting too excited, then to bring the mind back, stop pushing too hard, relax, or sober the mind, or focus on the breath. These sorts of things for excitement. And for laxity, to tighten your concentration, to make the object brighter, more brilliant, and so on, more inspiring, focus on inspiring things. So we need to think about how those work so we can apply them in our meditation. And power of thinking is the cause of the second stage. Power of hearing is the cause of the first stage. So with thinking, we don't want to just become reliant on guided meditations from others. So we're not training to be a hypnotherapy patient where someone's saying something every 30 seconds. And it's sort of an easy way to be guided because you don't have to make any effort. But we need to learn to meditate from our own initiative, establish the object from our own initiative, and apply the antidotes with our own initiative. So the third step is power of mindfulness, and that's got those two aspects of returning to the object when we lose it, but also, as Lord Tsongkhapa said, mindfulness is also that which causes retention of the object, causes your mind to stay on the object through mindfulness. And those are the causes of the third and fourth stage. So by the fourth stage, we don't lose the object. We've got the retention through mindfulness. Then the fourth power is power of awareness. And so alertness or watchfulness or vigilance. So we're alert to laxity and excitement. And the path to enlightenment explains that allows us to recognize the faults of distraction. And so we don't allow scattering. So it's the cause of the fifth and sixth stage. So at this point, we've got no interest in following our scattering, our excitement. So most of us secretly, at our stage, like following things we're attached to. We secretly want to think about Brad Pitt because we're bored with the image or we're bored with the breath, and we want to think about Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie or Leonardo DiCaprio or who's more current, Jennifer Lawrence. Or we might want to think about trying to understand how is it that Kim Kardashian's butt broke the internet? You know, these sorts of things you read and you don't quite understand. Or we might think about Daniel Andrews and the Stockholm syndrome of how how grateful you are to your jailer when when they give you a little bit of freedom. No, only joking. Well, some of the old timers actually have confessed. I won't mention any names. Margaret can't get distracted by Richard Gere. So anyway, the point is, at this stage with this power, we're not interested in all of that rubbish. We're determined to come back to the object straight away. So yeah, the fifth power is the power of joyous effort, and this is a delight in the Dharma, and particularly a delight in calm abiding. So if you can imagine your delight in salted caramel ice cream, and then transferring that to your meditation cushion, and the actual, you're like the runner who's in the zone with the endorphins. So at that stage, the power of joyous effort gives delight in the Dharma. And it's the cause of the seventh and eighth stage. It's the cause of striving to overcome even subtle thoughts and afflictions, subtle laxity and excitement. Yeah. Then the sixth power is the power of complete familiarity. And that arises from concentrating continuously on the one object. We become super familiar with it. And that's the cause of the ninth stage, placement with equanimity. So, yeah, it causes effortless, natural concentration. So those are the, just see, I would sort of rush through that a bit, but those are the six powers we need to become familiar with and rely upon. And then on page 828, Geshe focuses on the four attentions. So again, the source for this is Asanga's Hearer's Grounds, which is a source of a lot of this calm abiding instruction. So here, Geshe says, attention is an omnipresent mental factor which directs the primary mind and its associated mental factors to the object, apprehends the object, and holds the mind single-pointedly on the object. It functions to focus the mind on an object. There are four types of attention that are used to develop concentration: forcible attention, interrupted attention, uninterrupted attention, and effortless attention. So an omnipresent mental factor means one of the mental factors that are always there. So within any moment of mind, there's a primary mind which apprehends the main object, like, for example, your eye consciousness apprehends a shape and color. But then there's omnipresent mental factors, which are other aspects of mind that are always there. So, for example, feeling is one. You've always got, with every moment of mind, there's some associated feeling of either pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, but there's a feeling tone associated with your mind at all times. And so, similar to feeling, attention is this omnipresent mental factor. So forcible attention is described as a forceful effort to focus the mind on the object. So that's probably where most of us are at. It requires effort to practice concentration meditation. We have to all the time stay on the object, make effort to stay on the object, make effort to recognize when we're moving away from the object or we've moved away from the object, make effort to bring it back. So it requires effort, requires force, it's work. And that forcible attention is the causes of stages 1 and 2, placing the mind and placement with continuity. The second attention is interrupted attention. And it said this is a core, we're holding the object as we recover from an interruption, from lasting excitement. So, it's said to be the causes of stages 3 all the way through to 7. We have used this interrupted attention. So from patch-like concentration and close placement, controlling pacification and complete pacification require that interrupted attention, where we're recognizing interruption and quickly coming back. The uninterrupted attention is where we can hold the object with continuity, and that's the cause of the 8th stage, single-pointed concentration. And we'll be doing very well if we get to uninterrupted attention. Then effortless attention, not even the slightest effort, even at the beginning. So cause of the 9th stage, which is placement with equanimity. So the path to enlightenment says these 6 powers and 4 attentions are the cause of calm abiding. But as well as them, we do require those, particularly those 8 antidotes. We need faith, we need aspiration, and so on. Geshe says, of the 6 powers of the main method, and the first 3 are the most important. So we need to hear, and we need to think, and we need the power of mindfulness. So we need to rely on those 3 things primarily, and then obviously awareness too. So then, on page 829, I'm rushing through this a bit. It's the criterion of having attained calm abiding. So we can go back to the definition. What is calm abiding? So the definition of concentration is a mental factor that it can abide one-pointedly on an object of virtue without distraction. But calm abiding is a specific concentration that has the bliss of pliancy that arises in dependence on the 9 stages of mental abiding and has the faculty of being able to direct the mind to an object as wished. So on the 9th stage, we can concentrate as long as we wish for, but that's still not calm abiding, because calm abiding has this bliss of pliancy of body and mind, and it arises from repeated familiarity with effortless concentration of the 9th stage. So it's hard to imagine what this bliss of pliancy is. And it says the cause, in the path to enlightenment says the cause is that the winds within the body. So this is more Vajrayana language. So it's talking like chi, or very subtle energy, or the very subtle wind which is associated with consciousness. And it flows throughout the bodies, throughout the central channel, throughout the chakras, and all the other channels. But the winds, there are some winds that are associated with discomfort, or they're problematic or unharmonious, and so on. It says they leave through the crown, and all this, I suppose it's like bad energy, leaves through your crown chakra, and the experiences of bliss. So it's a blissful experience at that point. So mental pliancy, it overcomes all rigidity and mental heaviness. So ordinarily, it's very difficult to concentrate clearly. If you sit down to concentrate, how often do you feel my mind's just not very clear? I'm not really getting this. Or, heaviness or like a mental bog. So it overcomes rigidity, overcomes mental heaviness. There's a bliss from mental pliancy. The path of enlightenment says your body seems to dissolve into the object of concentration. So with calm abiding, you almost become like one with the object. And it also says the mind is so blissful, it's hard to stay on the object. You're just, you're totally blissed out. And, but then with practice and stabilization, it's then becomes an immovable pliancy. And that's perfect concentration, calm abiding. And again, the path of enlightenment describes it. It's almost like you can see the atoms in the wall. You've just got extraordinary clarity. And so can you imagine turning your mind with this clarity that's almost seeing atoms in the wall, turning that to your Buddha nature, recognizing your Buddha nature, or turning that to compassion for all living beings, so love for all living beings, with that absolutely powerful mind. So at that point, we can totally steep our mind in the Dharma. The Dharma would pervade the deepest parts of ourselves through the power of this concentration. And it's in the path of enlightenment, it says this mental pliancy causes the winds of physical pliancy to run through the body. And physical pliancy, when you experience that, there's no sense of roughness or heaviness. You don't feel yuck. There's no physical dysfunction. So your body is in complete, body and mind in complete harmony at that point. So presumably it's a very healing, extraordinarily healing for disease as well. Lama Tsongkhapa, in his great exposition, he says there's a great sense of well-being in the body with this physical pliancy. And the path of enlightenment says the body becomes light and becomes very energized, tireless, flexible, and it causes, So some of the really accomplished lamas, they seem very light on their feet. You occasionally see one. It's almost like they're very, very. It's hard to say that their steps are very, very light. So the path of enlightenment said in Buddha's time, many people easily developed calm abiding, but now we have less merit, with more agitation. It's a degenerate era. It's much harder to maintain virtue and keep pure ethics and so on. And there's many more distractions. So it requires more effort for us to attain calm abiding. It says it's the greatest pleasure of psychic existence. So I don't know, if you imagine your greatest pleasure, then, for example, if someone who really doesn't like Donald Trump, I'm not saying that's me, but if he loses the election, the sort of pleasure that person would get is nothing compared to calm abiding. The greatest pleasure you've ever experienced is nothing compared to the bliss of calm abiding. It's the greatest pleasure of psychic existence. normally all of our pleasures, there's something unsatisfactory or something. It's hard to find absolute pure pleasure that's not tainted or doesn't become boring or whatever. All right, so I'll just quote Lama Tsongkhapa from Volume 3, page 19. With regarding to concentration, he says, you cause the wind energies to become serviceable. Once this occurs, nothing precludes the arising of bliss, as it is the nature of such serviceability to create mental and physical delight and bliss. Once bliss has arisen, then there will be mental clarity by virtue of the quality of clarity in the feelings of delight and bliss. That's interesting, isn't it? That you gain clarity through this bliss. And also, Lama Tsongkhapa on page 86 in volume 3, he says, in summary, when your mind is serviceable, energy and mind focus as one, so the energy becomes serviceable. At that time, an extraordinary physical pliancy occurs, and when this happens, exceptional concentration arises in your mind. This in turn brings forth an exceptionally serviceable energy. So that's the criterion of having attained calm abiding. So I'll just read Geshe at the end of the chapter. He says, with the attainment of calm abiding, you will easily be able to develop various forms of clairvoyance that will greatly enhance your ability to benefit others. The ability to know the thoughts and minds of others so that you can be of more benefit to them is one of the great benefits of calm abiding. The main purpose for the Bodhisattva attaining calm abiding is to then apply this great power of mind to realizing the true nature of self and phenomena. One should not delay in the enjoyment of the bliss of calm abiding, but move quickly to perfect the practice of special insight. So that's what we'll be starting next week, is I suppose the most extraordinary teachings of the Buddha, probably the most extraordinary teachings available in psychic existence, as this perfection of wisdom from the Buddha and from Lord Tsongkhapa, from Geshe, that telling us how it really is, how things are. So leading us to actually remove this veil of ignorance that causes so much grief and causes us to be like slaves in samsara, slaves to our delusions, and causing lots of problems for ourselves and others. So we might wrap it up there, and we'll do the final prayer of the Lamrim on page 31. We maybe we'll do it in Tibetan, because Tibetan and English. Tani rindu bili zanini tataya pagaji sapadi numi mari dandruvananam nandrendya vivampoda jeshi Dhamma sampi zirakatuyam Champiyanti zewe jezuni Tanpirimpa kunsandanjijo Nini drupi dhanani jijo Randi Jishin Tope Landini Shudra Zewita Vita Titi Drawayeti Manpase Zini Drawayten Payan Rinzen Yuzi Tanparinchen Chodima Chabam Chodjanya Padupe Chodani Ninje Chenpo Yera Chopayi Pandete De Sawaje Pajo Sishe Jalwe Midran Trinlele Little Chanchu Lanjiran Picham Tado Nanchi La Patijin Jawezi Parin Tu Chanduji Lanzan Pita Jendra Jishin Katen Tsaji Mida Mimimpun Zera Kantu Dawina Payi Nanda Danda Dawa Maduchi Kanti Te Pachole Chochu Sujin Tripla Zampa De Tudan mabli tatu chechim trashi jatsu chakantya jushi. By the two collections vast as space, amassed with effort for a long time, may I become a chief of conquerors, a guide for all beings whose mind's eye is blinded by ignorance. Also in all lives while not yet come to that, may Manjushri favour me with his compassion, finding the supreme path complete with all stages of the teachings. May I please the conquerors by practicing well, by my precise understanding of the essential points of the path, with skillful means drawn along by strong compassion, and by dispelling the mental darkness of beings. May I uphold the conqueror's teaching for a long time, where the supreme precious teaching has not spread, also where it has spread but become degenerate, with a mind deeply moved by great compassion, may I make clear this treasure of benefit and bliss. The stages of a path excellently established by the marvelous deeds of the conquerors and their sons give glory to the minds of those aspiring for liberation. May the conquerors' deeds be long preserved. May all humans and non-humans remove the obstructions and establish conditions favorable to cultivating the excellent path, never be parted for all of their lifetimes from the purest of paths which the Buddhas have praised. When someone makes effort to practice properly the 10 points of conduct of the Supreme Vehicle, may he always be assisted by the mighty protectors, and may oceans of good fortune spread out, reaching all. And page 34. Dita di pilanta devaya tuzan de se shitan chichi se pahamana maludupada nanta danjozin peduruna te tu lizeratan tuda Te chato jidan mitaj ne jan sen jan tak tawada rini lanji du patashijo. Whatever white virtues we have thus created, we dedicate as causes, enabling us to uphold the holy Dharma of scripture and realization, and to fulfill without exception the prayers and deeds of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the three times. By the power of this merit in all our lives, may we never be parted from the four wheels of the Mahayana, and may we complete the journey on the paths of renunciation, bodhicitta, pure view, and the two stages. By this virtue, may all beings complete the collections of wisdom and merit, and attain the two holy bodies arisen from wisdom and merit. May the precious superior mind of enlightenment be generated in those who have not yet generated it, and not decrease in those who have developed it, but increase continuously. So thanks, everyone. So next week's special insight, and if there's any questions, feel free to send them through. We're still trying to work out what these new guidelines mean in terms of people coming to help in the garden. So hopefully, I think Rosie's going to try and find out on Monday, from the department. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Money, for rescuing us in our technological problems this afternoon. Shall I turn it off now?
Yeah, can I move this one?
And stream.